Hey guys, it has been quite a while. It's been a few months, actually. It was like mid-April since I last did any type of content. And why that was, so I don't like when content creators just drop off the face of the earth without really saying what's going on, or you're subscribed to someone and then they just disappear. So if you follow the channel, I sold my house over in Louisville and I moved to Arizona. And so the last couple months for me have been just dealing with that, just moving and getting my stuff in order and whatnot. Most of my belongings are in storage still, and that's not going to change for a little bit. I'm looking for property and whatnot here, but most of my gaming stuff is still locked away. What I wanted to do is kind of give an update on where I am with wargaming in general, with Conquest, with other war games I might be looking at, and kind of give some interesting news, some good news on what's happened to me over the past couple months, which has been pretty awesome. So I'll just start with the wargaming stuff. So all my wargaming models and whatnot are in storage, so I don't really have the ability to play anything right now, or to do much other than just like watch and follow. I don't really have a hobby set up right here. I don't have a lot of room where I'm at to really have all those things that I'm used to having in my house. So with Conquest, I haven't been following Conquest now for a couple months, well, since April. And I've come to a decision for myself where I'm not really going to follow much public gaming, wargaming anymore in terms of personal involvement, at least for right now. With Conquest, so it was shortly after the video I had done in April. I had been contacted by Parabellum, and I was reprimanded for doing videos where I talk about balance, and some of the Vanguards were getting upset that they were having a hard time promoting the game because I was talking about some of the factions having bad balance. And the catalyst, or the event that kicked that reprimand off, was there was a guy who joined the Facebook, and he was asking about competitive play, and he was interested in the 100 Kingdoms, and he was very specific about tournament play. And then he went in the Discord and asked basically the same question. He worded it a little bit differently, but it was the same guy. He said he was looking for someone to help him build a kick-ass army or something like that. He was looking for a tournament army for 100 Kingdoms. And I had commented in both places like that. At this point, back in April, I don't know what the state of the game is right now, but back in April, that really wasn't possible. There wasn't really a kick-ass, badass 100 Kingdoms army you could build. That doesn't mean you can't win. I've said that probably 1,000 times on these videos and in Discord and in Facebook. It doesn't mean you can't win. It just means that if you're, I know what competitive players are looking for. They're not looking for an army that's going to struggle. They're, like you said, I want a kick-ass army. I want an army that's badass, that's going to maul people. They didn't really have that. And so I was told Vanguards shouldn't be doing that. Vanguards should not be telling people there's no competitive builds. And you should keep everything positive. So I understand from if I step back and I look at what their request is, I understand from a logical perspective what is being requested. It is, they want us to sell their product, and it's really hard to sell their product if a guy wants to play competitively and his faction of choice doesn't have a competitive option. We're supposed to just say, well, it does great. Because that's what a lot of the Vanguards were doing. It does great. You're fine. You'll be fine. So, to me, that is kind of like being a car salesman. That's not my personality. I can't do that. I don't have the ability to, when someone asks me direct questions, to obfuscate the answer or dance around the actual answer or give a false answer. And that was what was basically being asked or told of me to do, and I'm not going to do that. So that's that was one reason I'm not really a part of Conquest anymore. I like the game still. I like the rules developers. I really like them. Great guys. They're doing their best, and from what I understand, they're working on fixing the balance, and that's good. I'm sure that they have a good handle on that. I love the story behind it still. The writers are great. Those guys have great heads on their shoulders. I just don't like having to lie, basically. And I don't like being around others who are willfully going to do the same thing to promote their status in the community or whatever. Because the Vanguard program is essentially a competition, and they compete for levels. So, and that's good. I think competition is good, but I don't like where that went. I don't want to be told you have to lie to people or you have to try to spin things. And I'm not a spin doctor. I don't do that. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. That's just how I am. And I'm not apologetic for that at all, because I have spent hundreds of dollars on an army to find out that it was not very good. And it's not a good feeling, right? It's not a good feeling at all. So I'm not going to do that to someone else. And so there was that. And the other thing, really, with the testing and how they handle testing, I'm a game developer, and I'm a software engineer, and I do a lot of testing every day, and so I guess I have standards on how I want to test things, and the way that the testing was going was just not something that I thought was useful. It was useful, but it wasn't. My concern is balance. It'll always be balance. I want to be able to buy whatever I want to buy and be able to play that game and know that I'm going to have a good game. So that's always going to be my number one thing. I got lucky early on in wargaming because, when I started off in the late 80s, that wasn't as big of a deal because there wasn't really tournaments. So people just played for fun. And then when I got into Warhammer in the late 1990s, I just happened to like the really strong factions. So for probably 7 or 8 years, the armies that I liked to play were just really, really powerful. So I never had, to me, the game was right. It was balanced because I just happened to pick the factions that were really strong. So I never had bad games where I felt bad, like I didn't get stomped on because my army list was weak, because my army lists were really strong. So once I started seeing that other side of things, late in the 2000s, that's when I started to change my mind, and I saw how important balance was. But balance is very important to me. The testing from what I saw of a lot of the Vanguards, not all of them, a lot of them was very similar to the Age of Sigmar testing, which was, it's good enough, don't play people who are going to break the game, you'll be fine. But that's not an option for me. Like where I was in Louisville, it was almost always competitive, and even out here in Arizona, from what I see, it's fairly competitive to mostly competitive. So you can't really ask someone, please don't take that list. Please don't build a super strong list because the faction I chose just happens to be weak. That's not really a strong option for public gaming. That is a fairly good option for private gaming if you have a close group of friends that can self-regulate. But I've always been I'm into public campaigns, and I don't want to have to rely on people to self-police themselves. And the way the testing was going, that was a lot of the feedback or the kickback from the Vanguards was, the balance is fine, just don't play those people. If you're playing for fun, it's fun, which is true. But again, I just talked about my environment. That's not really the option for a lot of people. So I'm gonna take a step back from that. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. I hope it improves. The models are great. Everything's great about it. But for me, to invest a lot of money into something, I don't want to play a game of Monopoly where the car gets to go twice because it's fast, starts with double the money, and Boardwalk, right? No one would want to play that game of Monopoly. No one wants to play a game of chess where I get half my army and you get a back row of queens, because why not? No one wants to play that game. We want to play a game where when I sit down, there's an equal chance between the two of us to affect the outcome. And so those are what I'm looking for. So looking at wargaming in general, like all my stuff's in storage right now anyway, so I can't really do anything. But the Ninth Age is pretty I'm not going to say really popular here, but there's players here. There's a champion here for it. And they have games down at the local store. And while Ninth Age is not my favorite game, and I talked about it last year sometime when I rated fantasy games, where Ninth Age was like in the middle somewhere. It's very sterile, but I'm considering that because it is balanced. And I'm looking at Oathmark, because Oathmark, the author for Oathmark is he writes like I like to write, and he writes games like how I like to play. So it's very story driven, and he's very he watches out for things like those killer combos and just things like that. That's just not the style of game that he writes. Not to say that it's perfectly balanced, because no game is, but he does pay attention to those things, and that's very important to me. And it's, again, Oathmark seems very story driven, very kingdom builder esque. So I'm kind of excited to look at that. I've got all the books for it. It's just a matter of being able to sit down and use them. Kings of War here doesn't really have a presence, and actually Conquest here doesn't really have a presence either that I can see. None of the stores really have it going on, and they haven't really. There's not really a lot of chatter about it, and I'm not interested in public promotion anymore or trying to build communities. I've done it for 20 years and it's fun, but I'm ready to move on into something else. So one game I have picked up is Marvel, the Crisis Protocol. The models are pretty cool. I'm not huge into comic books, but my girlfriend is, and so she painted Red Skull, and we posted the pictures on Facebook, and it was her first miniature painting ever, and it looked really, really good for someone's first attempt especially, but she did really well with it. So I'm looking forward to kind of exploring that. And the thing with Marvel, that game is you only need like 4 or 5 models. So even if I buy a model that is a stinker, like the balance is bad and it's just not good, I don't really feel like I'm put out a whole lot. I've lost $20 as opposed to like I've dumped $600 into an army that's a dud. So it's a little bit different. Plus, with the limited space I have right now, Marvel fits because the game plays on a smaller table and whatnot. So what I would like to do is do some more battle reports when I get some room set up. Probably looking at Marvel, probably looking at Oathmark, maybe some Ninth Age. I really honestly sold almost everything I owned from wargaming, from my GW collection, but I do have Tomb Kings and Chaos Dwarfs still packed away. So I would like to explore those. So you'll probably see some of that. And so that's where I'm at with wargaming right now. I don't really see me doing a lot of it this year just because of where I'm at, and just trying to set up my new house. I have to get one. I have to find one, and the real estate the way it is really bonkers. Everything's really expensive. So we'll see how that goes. Now I do have some awesome news, kind of related to wargaming. It's related to gaming in general. So if you follow my Facebook, and I haven't been very super active on it right now because there's just been so much going on. But Auticus Studios is I am working on Metalia, the Chronicles of Metalia, which was it's a heavy metal war. It's my take on wargaming. It's what I would do if I could write my own game. And I'm kind of integrating that with an engine I wrote called Primo Victoria, which had a lot of use in Louisville for campaigns. I used a lot of the background for that in Louisville. I'm actually moving that over to PC title because I am a game developer, and I have the tools available to me to bring a game out without needing to worry about logistics of models and so forth. And it's also, it doesn't take up much space. You buy the game and you have everything in front of you. So and I can tune it as we go. I am an indie developer. I am just me right now. So I don't know what I've been working on the code for it for a while. I don't know what it's going to end up looking like. Obviously, it's not a AAA title. It's not going to be something like Total Warhammer because I don't have a giant team and a giant art budget and artists and all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to bringing that out. But since I've moved here to Arizona, I was offered an amazing opportunity. I was contacted by basically a company that works. I'm working with Microsoft now as a lead developer working with XBox Studios. So I am now back in the professionally paid gaming industry world, which is awesome. So I'm actually working on AAA titles. I'm working with Microsoft on their AAA publishing titles, doing stuff as a lead developer. So let's say that blew up my world in a good way. It would be an underestimation. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I don't even have the words. It's like I've got drafted into the NFL. Is how I feel right now. It's just amazing. So I'll be working in AAA titles, and I'll be working on my own stuff as an indie developer on the side. So you will be seeing more coming out from me as soon as I can get something presentable. But the Metallia game is going to be out. It is still a fantasy war game, turn-based. It's based in heavy metal fantasy, which is my passions, and I've already talked about that in another video. If you want to go back to the channel, you could find that, but expect some stuff soon. So until then, I don't really have much else to say. That's just kind of an update on what I've been doing and where I'm at with wargaming and Conquest and so forth. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're staying healthy and you're staying safe and you're enjoying your hobbies, whatever they may be. Please leave comments below and let me know what you've been up to. And if I will leave a Discord invite if you want to jump on my personal Auticus Studios Discord. It's not very active at the moment. I use it mainly for my online gaming and my RPG group, but any of my game development stuff will also be posted there, as well as the Auticus Studios Facebook. So again, please leave some comments. Let me know what you guys have been up to. There will be more coming out of me in the future. We will just have to wait. I wait and see where I end up and getting my gaming space back, so I can start producing some battle reports and those type of things for other games, because that's honestly why I created this channel. So stay safe, be healthy. Until next time, cheers.